What do you think now? The big trend now is cottage cheese amongst Gen Z and younger.
I had some sick guys in my gym, man, that used to make tuna shake, orange juice and tuna.
Cholesterol, speaking of biomarkers and things, and
the higher your cholesterol is, the healthier and better. There's a guy out there, expert on melatonin, he takes hundreds.
Myostatin inhibitors. I'm not talking about the supplements, but real medical.
So if you're in a negative calorie balance and you had enough protein and you lifted weights, you probably minimize.
Possibly why, and maybe you've seen this in young men, they seem like they're stronger than compared to when we get older.
You'd be thinking something else, or if you're thinking, oh, yeah, but I'm not good enough to do that. Well, that is also your reality. That would be your reality. If you think, then it's going to be like that, right?
From conquering the bodybuilding world with unparalleled intensity to unlocking the deeper secrets of mind, body and spirit, today we're getting real with six-time Mr. Olympia, the legendary Dorian Yates. Ready to discover what lies beyond the trophies and fame? Let's dive deep right here on Balance My Hormones.
So we were talking a little bit before about cholesterol, speaking of biomarkers and things, and you have a certain philosophy. I know that it's very controversial. There's like this camp or that camp. And I'm not a fan of statins at all. So, but I think there are better ways.
The higher your cholesterol is, the healthier and better. High cholesterol, low blood sugar, that's the formula for health. Yeah, so the fact that there's a whole industry out there trying to lower your cholesterol is ridiculous.
I would never take a statin. Years ago, they tried to put me on statins, and I got muscle pain, and I didn't feel good mentally, and it can lead to.
Blind's made of cholesterol, so
it didn't drop it radically low, but if you're used to being at a certain level and you drop it. But I do think there might be a place for the PCSK9 inhibitors. There are people genetically have a low level of PCSK9. And it doesn't work so high up the food chain. It works very closely to the cholesterol, allowing more, I think, LDL receptors to be available. And I've noticed that when I take it, one small injection subcutaneously every 2 weeks, it does lower my ApoB. It does slightly lower Lp(a), and it brings the cholesterol down to, I guess, what is considered more of a healthy range, but not anywhere near where it's so low that I'm going to have potential side effects. And it's only because, for me, I had a test like a CAC score. It had a little bit of an area where some stenosis, just a little bit of a narrowing. Yeah, there's calcium, a bit of narrowing. But then calcium score only looks at calcium. Statins increase the calcium. And then they'll say in the industry that that's a good thing because it stabilizes the plaque versus an atheroma or plaque that's just a fatty plaque that could rupture more easily. So the fact that it's calcified might not be the worst.
Interesting, you can find this online somewhere, but it doesn't name the participants. It's online on PubMed or wherever. It's published steady online on bodybuilders who use steroids and growth hormone in California. And their calcium score was part of the study. Yeah. And it doesn't name because probably they can't, but I was one of the participants in that, yeah. Milos was in it, Sean Ray, some other people anyway, but they're not named in the studies. And it varied as far as the calcium score from 0 up to, I think somebody had 400 or something like that.
My mum's 76 and she has what's considered high cholesterol. The doctors wanted to put her on a statin, said no way. And then she looked for the calcium score, she had zero calcium at 76. But I've inherited from her a high Lp(a), which is
genetic, right?
It's genetic, and all the dieting, exercise won't change it. There are 5 different drug candidates coming out in the next 2 years that will genetically very precisely lower just that without side effects. So rather than use small molecules can have off-target effects, these are very strict genetic tools that essentially block the gene from producing the Lp(a). So to me, you can only there's 2 injections a year. If it brings it down, to me, that's reducing the risk factor that I can't control with lifestyle or diet.
Would it affect the cholesterol absorption in your brain? Because a lot of the statins people, it seems that the dementia is going up.
Affect total. It's a particular, this is like sandpaper through your arteries, and it can cause valvular issues as well by having this floating around. And so there's some people, I think that might be the missing link where they shut the cholesterol down, lower the cholesterol so low, but they still have heart attacks, and they say, well, what happened? The guy was on a statin, the guy was on, repair, and he still had a heart attack.
Because it's got damaged endothelium and the body's been trying to repair it.
Yeah, from the LP-little-a, and it's not repairing it. So that could be the future.
So that's a test that somebody just needs to do once, right?
You just do it once, and it's not going to change. Yeah, it's not going to change much.
Yeah, I mean, I don't believe I have any genetic tendency. I think it's just lifestyle choices.
No, I agree. I think it's a complex picture as well. Yeah. Very complex picture. It's hard to say no, and every should have cholesterol as high as possible, but you're right, less is more.
If you look over meta studies, like statistics, people that live the longest have high cholesterol and lower, long-term blood sugar.
HbA1c. Yeah. HbA1c. And what have the highest HbA1c?
The combination of high cholesterol and low long-term blood sugar is the formula that seems to be common between people that live longer.
Last time we talked about insulin, and we were kind of, I'll show you mine if you show me yours.
My last one was 4, and I found one that was sub 2.
Okay, so I've had some good ones as well. Okay, good. About 3.7, 4. Okay. I think the last one was 7, and I think I told you I was on the growth hormone because it helps the heart as well. Small dose, but it kind of stabilizes. So I was really happy with the fasting insulin.
Yeah. What's a small dose of growth hormone?
Just under 0.6 milligrams, under 2 IU. Yeah. Yeah. Because I think you need a little bit as we get older, and there are some benefits.
2 IUs, and I tested my IGF before. It was like 100, so it was on the low side, I guess. And 2 IUs put me 200, so it's in a good range.
Have you noticed more fat burning and more?
Yeah, get leaner and sleep a little bit better, which has always been a bit of an issue for me on and off over the years, like stress related. Probably goes way back to bodybuilding, where I got obsessed with you get enough sleep. Yeah, and I lived on a council estate surrounded by noisy neighbours, which I had.
Well, you weren't one of those guys that would get up at 5 in the morning to refeed and then.
No. I think if you're sleeping,
you're sleepy.
Sleep, yeah. Don't disrupt that whole process just to have a protein shake, and the body has to have downtime, So no, I was, but I always ate late at night. I never was in this don't eat carbs past this witching hour of 6 o'clock or something,
That Brian Johnson stops eating at 11 in the morning and sleeps by 7. I don't know if you follow that. Not the Liver King Brian Johnson.
I mean, I can just demonstrate what kind of low body fat I achieved and so on.
You're still eating.
And I was still eating, I was eating oats with egg whites. Not a lot. And I would taper it, I'd have more carbs in the start of the day and after training, and less, but not 0. So I was having 50 grams of oat porridge, mixed with egg whites and stuff, half an hour before I went to bed, or 40 minutes, because if I was to not eat for 3 or 4 hours before I go to bed, I'm not sleeping. I'm not sleeping. The same way. The metabolism is just going to be, I'm going to be awake. I need some carbs just to help with probably with serotonin production or something. So that's how I eat now. I eat carbs in the evening with my dinner in the evening. Sweet potatoes, rice, that kind of stuff.
I even have a tiny little bit of pesto on it.
Sometimes I have a litre of ice cream from Ben & Jerry's, but we shouldn't talk about that.
The guys over here.
It's when Gal buys it, man. I tell her not to buy it, because Gal can have a tub of ice cream, and have 1 scoop, and it's still there next week. If I'm going to eat it, it's gone. Then it's out of the way.
What do you think now? The big trend now is cottage cheese amongst Gen Z and younger.
Cottage cheese was a thing when I first started training, man. And then it's gone out of vogue, right?
It's got the casein protein.
It's a good protein, not a bad protein. Cottage cheese and tuna. Those are the, available and cheap protein when we were young, right?
Separate, you don't mix them together like cottage cheese and tuna. You did, almost the same.
I had some sick guys in my gym, man, that used to make tuna shake. Orange juice and tuna, blended together. I'm like, well, why don't you just have a strawberry protein? Tastes much better, but apparently it was a bit cheaper or something, So yeah, cottage cheese is a good protein, but there's no magical protein. If you want to go on a scale, probably going to find egg is at the top. If you want to, eggs. Well, split hairs, but they're all good for dairy, meat, proteins, eggs.
There's been some, I think, warnings coming out about whey protein, or that's essentially it's the waste production of the dairy industry, and that it might not be the best, maybe even spike your blood sugar. Do you have much faith in whey anymore?
Well, whey is a great protein. Yeah, it's yes, they used to throw it away before, but it doesn't mean it doesn't have some value. You know, whey protein is a first-class protein. Yeah, if you're concerned about blood sugar, you can always mix it with the fat. You know, put some coconut oil in the shake or something like that. If it was after training, I would just have it with water. But let's say you're going to have a protein late at night. I'd put maybe some coconut oil in or something, or half an avocado or something. Slow down the digestion a little bit.
When you're training, or even now, are you one of the guys that you basically refuel with the shake after training to replenish the glycogen, or?
No, I mean, sometimes I'm not I'm not religious with my, I take creatine, you know, it's got other benefits other than the muscle building, obviously with the memory and stuff like that. And even with mood, they're finding good. So.
And you don't get any water retention from the creatine?
No, I don't notice it. I mean, I know, to be honest, when I took creatine, when I was using steroids, I didn't notice it as much. Probably because my ATP levels and everything was already stacked up. If I don't use it for a few weeks and then I start using it again, I can just feel a little bit more fullness in the muscle, a little bit more push when I'm exercising, a little bit more. So that's something I always take. And a whey protein, I take a shake most days just to keep the protein level up because I'm only eating twice. So to get like 200 grams of protein a day, I need to...
HMB, whatever happened to
HMB, no, I don't use that. That's another one that's coming around that was like available in
the 90s.
The 90s, yeah.
That's that Bill Phillips and the whole.
I take a lot of supplements. It's more like health related.
Like vitamin D3.
I take D3, K2, you know, for general health, immunity, and the arteries.
Are you doing anything for NAD? Are you doing NMN?
NMM, I've just got, because DY's got our own facility now. We've got their own labs and formulators. So I just call them up and say, have you got this in stock? Because we're bringing out a whole new range, DY Life, later in the year, which is more health, wellness, longevity. So it's more interesting for me because the other stuff has been, you know, been doing it a long time, right? So I just call them up and get my own stuff made. So I got this week delivered NMM, K2, D3, 20 milligram melatonin, because you can only get 2 milligrams here in the store.
You normally take that?
20 milligrams, man, yeah. I took 40 the other night. There's a guy out there, expert on melatonin, he takes hundreds. And he's saying it's like a very powerful antioxidant because melatonin is all the cells now, not just in the brain they've discovered. Anyway, so multiple reasons I take high dose melatonin.
I'm 0.75 milligrams. That's enough, I think.
You can get 2 milligrams in the stores here, so you know.
But no, we can't get that in the UK.
No, UK you can't get it at all. But most European countries you can get it in limited dosage, unless you go to the pharmacy compound, they make it up for you. But yeah, I make mine. And what else? NAD, something I take all the time.
Injectable or IV?
No, NAD, NAD, NAC, sorry, yes. N-acetylcysteine.
Yes.
For glutathione levels.
And also boosts dopamine.
Yeah, great. So,
But
did you ever notice an increase in hemoglobin from NAC? Because I tend to be prone to that. Every time I take NAC, it goes higher than it should.
The only time my hemoglobin was a bit high was when I was using testosterone, but in one shot. I spread it up into 2 and 3, and now it's like, it's not even at the top. Now it's like 15, 16, like, you know.
On the trough, on the lowest point. Yeah. So that's your TRT protocol then. That's any particular ester, whatever's.
Non-fatal cypionate, I don't think there's much difference. Here they have.
It's a testosterone propionate here.
It's supposed to be equivalent to cypionate, I think. Testex.
Yeah, that's cypionate.
Perongatum or something it's called. Yeah. It's 200 milligrams.
230 milligrams in 2 mLs, and they have 100 milligrams in 2 mLs. We have that at the Hormone pharmacy, as well as testosterone propionate, 25 milligrams per 1 ml. And that's what I have been prescribed. And I've been doing daily testosterone propionate for well over a year now. And it keeps mine quite.
Yeah, daily I just got fed up with the little lumps. And I was doing subcutaneous. So I said, wait a minute, I didn't even know you could do that. I was doing that. Now I switched back to intramuscular. But
yeah, you can do shallow intramuscular.
Yeah, I do it with an insulin needle, just in a delt or something.
Yeah, delts. I can even do it in the side, like the ventral.
But you can do it subcutaneously as well.
But you know what? It creates those lumps. And one time I've said this. No, and I think it slows its release. And one, I know there's some doctors out that will promote that, but I've just seen patients report with lumps. This big. I reposted the lump, how bad it was on his abs, and Facebook, they gave me a warning because they thought it was pornography. They thought it was someone's boob that appeared because of the swelling from the subcutaneous injection, which can happen, and they take weeks to go away.
I got mine down to like every 4 days. I do a
that's enough.
Intramuscular one, and that keeps. It doesn't seem to spike the hemoglobin. It's never been even like near to the top since I've been doing that. So.
And do you do HCG as well, or no? We talked about that. Yeah.
I'm like, if I do HCG, it sends my estrogen like through the roof, and I feel very.
I think it's.
I used it when I was competing, like at end of cycles, and I got the same feeling then. And instinctively, I just avoided it. I said, I just like, whatever. I just let it go without it. And then somebody recommended I try it a couple of years ago, and I did the blood test, and I saw my estrogen went up like 300 or something crazy. And yeah, I just felt like I had a thrombosis. After this, it could have been related. And
yeah, because you said you did an aromatase inhibitor off.
I was an old man, like, you know. So I just instinctively knew it was estrogen. Then when I got the report back, I was like, right, that's not for me.
Yeah, you've got to find balance. And then there's some, like I said, in the TRT world, there are at least two camps. One is like absolutely higher estrogen, the better. As long as the ratio of testosterone estrogen is good. And the other camp is like, no, just keep it somewhat.
Who's the guy from the States that's a very famous, I can't remember his name now, but he did a very good podcast on it.
Dr. Rand McLean, or is it Dr. Keith Nichols?
It'll come to me. Anyway, but he was saying like all the negatives that's given to men with high estrogen is not the high estrogen. It's the fact that they've got metabolic syndrome, and high estrogen is just coming along with it. It's not, if you've got high estrogen without those on its own, it's a positive, but it's not that. It's that's causing the problem.
Estrogen is the innocent bystander. It comes to the rescue, and it's trying to help heal to a degree. But everyone's a little bit sensitive, and if you can reduce the body fat, you're not going to have the aromatase enzyme, and then you're going to start, maybe not producing as much estrogen in relation to your testosterone. But there's lots of that going out there. So it sounds like you tried the different testosterone treatments, and you're quite happy with.
Yeah, where I am now, like on the high end, and I feel good, which is also, important feedback, right? All my markers are in good places, nothing out of place. Blood sugar's good, all inflammatory markers are good. I may have had an issue with folate, because I did the test, the methyl test, and I was deficient from one parent.
Okay,
so now I take methylfolate, which may be a reason that I was susceptible to insomnia and anxiety, depression.
Do you use L-theanine as well? L-theanine to help calm or sleep?
No, I haven't tried that, but I do smoke a lot of weeds. CBD and THC, that's mine. Also, part of my protocol. And I'm being serious. Like, it's antioxidant, anti-inflammatory. If you search for a patent on cannabis, there's one out there from some department of US government for all these reasons, saying that it's an antioxidant, anti-aging, blah, 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 in their own words, trying to get a patent on it. But on the other hand, it's supposed to be, well, it's changing now in the state. Most of the states now it's legal, but federally it's still controlled substance with no medical benefits. So we're a bit confused, I think.
I know, they kind of push over the edge, and who knows where they'll go in the States. Speaking of the States, I went to Gold's Gym, and I was also at the Mr. Olympia, and we took a picture with your cutout next to it.
Oh, yeah, I'm on the wall there, I should be out there this year. I missed last year because I was getting ready for the hip surgery and everything. But I'll be there. I'll probably go.
I heard you go to the Firehouse, Engine House,
That's Firehouse is like been there forever. I first went to Gold's Gym in 1990, and everyone used to go to the Firehouse. It's an old firehouse, like it's still Firehouse, and they do all the bodybuilding food and egg whites and everything, and it's just down the block from the gym, so you see everyone going there.
Dr. George Triatos, he's a friend of mine. He's been on the channel before. We went together. He said, Dorian comes here, and we came after going to Gold's Gym. Actually, we saw Arnold's son, Joseph.
Yeah, I spoke to him a couple of times, and he was a nice, friendly kid. Yeah, it seemed cool.
I said, George, I think that's Arnold's son. He said, oh, really? And I nipped to the loo. I come back, and George was doing a selfie with him. I even get a picture with him.
Yeah, Gold's Gym. I mean, it's not what it used to be. Yeah. Well, it's still got the vibe, and all the pictures there and everything.
Yeah, it is an interesting culture. what started around your era, really, over there. And
Well, when I went, it was very much like a family feel. You know, first of all, you had the Weeder magazines, yeah? That was everything. That was bodybuilding, Weeder, yeah? In Woodland Hills. Then you had Gold's Gym in Venice Beach. And then you even had, like, a hotel that's still there. It's under another name now. But they had a hotel there on the beach that would, like, Weeder had some association with this hotel. So the restaurant was all bodybuilding food. Any bodybuilders that came out to, like, train at Gold's Gym used to stay there. If anyone came for a photo shoot for the magazines, they used to put them there. So it was the bodybuilding hotel. So you had this, and everybody knew each other, and you had this feeling like at Gold's Gym, it was the guys that opened it years ago or took over it, Pete Grimkowski and Ed Connors and people like that. And so it was very much a family feel. Now it's changed a lot because somebody else bought Gold's Gym, somebody bought the Weeders out, and, you know, we got the internet now, so it's a whole different thing. But that was literally, you know, people from all around the world would make a pilgrimage. That's why they call it Mecca bodybuilding, right? Make a pilgrimage there to train there and try to, you know, see the top bodybuilders and all that stuff. So it's not quite the same, but I still like to go out.
I swear, I think the minimum weight is set at a lot heavier amount compared to other gyms. They're just the starting weight on some of the machines.
Yeah, yeah.
And some of the machines look like these contraptions that are going to hurt you because I've never seen some of them.
Well, I mean, they got machines from every company that you want to get, because if you got a machine, it's good to have your stuff in Gold's Gym, yeah. So I think I don't know, but I don't think they even pay for any of the equipment. It's just all there on permanent loan, really, from all the companies, because it's like a showroom for people around the world, right?
I find that the gym in Marbella, the paddle gym, is a little bit reminiscent of Gold's Gym.
Yeah, it's a little bit LA-like. You know, I mean, Marbella is a little bit LA-like, if you like. It's a bit like Santa Monica or something, with the promenades and the beaches and all that stuff and the lifestyle. So I think California is as closest as you would get to this if you wanted to, you know, somebody from the States, like, how is it? It's a bit like Santa Monica or something like that.
No, I did like that. Was my first time in LA, and it was really good. We got to meet. I don't know if you know Dr. Rand McLean. His practice is out in Santa Monica, and he's treated some bodybuilders and other people looking to health and wellness, and he does lots of the IV drips.
That's great. You've got all these guys now. I mean, we had nothing. You know?
Yeah. So it's
whatever. A couple of books that you could read about it. Most guys didn't want to even go for a blood test to the doctors because they were afraid of this reaction. Like, oh no, you shouldn't be doing it, you're going to kill yourself. Like, they don't want to help, you know? So everyone was just shooting in the dark.
But now the paradigm is, if you have low testosterone, you're at a greater risk of mortality. So there, Peter Attia, forget the VO2 max, low testosterone.
Yeah, and what would happen if you, like, over-exercising all the time? Testosterone goes down. And yeah, it's short, hard, intense workouts with bodybuilding. I mean, I proved that because I did it. Oh yeah, other guys trained other ways, but I think my way was more efficient. I think before I got injured anyway, I think I got probably more out of my potential than other, you know, squeezed more out of my orange than other people did. Maybe I had a bigger orange, but they didn't squeeze all the juice out, you know. So not just myself, other people have proven that you can do with short workouts. And for your cardiovascular fitness, I don't think you need to do long workouts either. You can if you want to, if you enjoy it and everything. But like, for a health point of view, I don't think you need to. Too much is less than ideal.
I agree. Have you been following any of the new potential breakthroughs? This was going back to the early noughties, myostatin inhibitors. I'm not talking about the supplements, but real medical.
I wasn't even aware of them. I mean, I only learned about myostatin in the last decade, I suppose, you know. And apparently Flex Wheeler has a deficiency, which would explain. I'm like, how does he do that? But, you know, a few times I was at Gold's Gym watching Flex and the other guys train, I'm thinking, they're just piss-assing about, yeah? They may have been, but another time I saw him and he was training really heavy, so he could if he wanted to, you know? I saw Flex Wheeler with his little joints and all that, yeah? Don't look strong, but I saw him incline pressing 160-pound dumbbells, got them up on his own, did 10 reps and put them down. It didn't look very difficult. And I was like, fuck, I'd find that quite hard, you know? Yeah. And I'm bigger, so, you know, he'd put the work in, but probably not always. You know, I was always.
Well, that's interesting. On the studies they did for people who had like muscular dystrophies, they would find they increased lean muscle mass by giving a myostatin, like inhibit myostatin, either through antibodies or like siRNAs, which is different mRNA, other techniques to say, hey, gene, don't make this, or hey, we're going to block the myostatin. There's many different techniques of blocking myostatin. And what they found was they all did increase lean muscle mass, decrease body fat, but they weren't able to walk out of that chair. And so it makes you wonder if it has to be with the muscle neuron connection.
So the muscles were bigger, but they were not functional?
They weren't functional enough to fix that dystrophy. So I guess I'm wondering, is this possibly why, and maybe you've seen this in young men, they seem like they're stronger than compared to when we get older. They seem like they've got more lifting capacity. Or do I have just really dodgy joints? I can't work it out, because I've seen this before. Some kid 19, he's lifting, and I think I'm well trained, but he's just easily lifting half the stack. And I'm doing it, but it's making it more difficult to keep up. And I'm thinking, is this
naturally going to be stronger when in between 20 and 30?
Because of the neurons as well, firing like the higher levels of dopamine potentially.
Your guess is as good as mine, mate. But my observation is peak like strength and stuff.
And recovery as a younger person
30 is
your peak.
For me, that's like when I was 30, 31, that was my peak of like, I had no injuries, had no problems, peak of strength. And like you observe, I think that's about, for a strength athlete, that's probably around your peak years, early 30s, because it takes time to get there, right? So if you started training in the late teens or something like that, it's probably take you 10 years to like get somewhere near your maximum potential, which actually is like, I started training properly in 83, and I won my second Mr. Olympia, which is arguably could have been my peak. At 90, so that's exactly 10 years from when I started to like, I feel like that was near my maximum. I was getting there. There was not much more room to move there. So the thing is with the myostatin blockers is like, it might be some medical conditions where it's useful, but for a bodybuilder, like, haven't we reached the reasonable limits of it looking even like attractive, like at some point?
Will they abuse it? And I think that's they'll be out in a couple of years, and I'll tell you why. Because when they failed the muscular dystrophy trials, they said, well, how can we repurpose that? And with the rise of Wegovy and Mounjaro, the weight loss medications, they're finding some atrophy, some loss of muscle mass potential. And that might just go hand in hand. I've spoken to other doctors. That might go hand in hand with just losing weight. You lose a bit of muscle. So if they can add this to the Wegovy or the Mounjaro, then you can maintain muscle mass, which we say is important as we age, without being muscle mass monsters. I think we tend to think of the Belgian blue breed cattle or those whippet dogs that are doubly muscles or flex wheeler, without quite being that way, that to help us. I think as we age, it might be worth it. I mean, it was shown to be.
Well, people are inherently lazy. If there's a pill they can take this.
I think going back to exercising and doing a myostatin.
Here's my question about was it Ozempic?
Ozempic, yeah.
Ozempic, yeah. You're losing weight, you're losing fat, they're losing some muscle mass as well. Yeah, what if that person that's taking the medication is also training? Are they not losing muscle mass? Is that preventing them from losing muscle mass while they're using the Ozempic?
So some of the doctors that I've spoken to that prescribe this, and we also prescribe at our clinic, recommend adding protein. And if you exercise, and I've heard of some bodybuilders now using the Ozempic, the Wegovy, this is the same things, or Mounjaro, slightly different, and they're not losing muscle mass, they're actually getting good fat gain. So I think that it's misguided for the media to just blame and say it's muscle loss. Because I think it would be...
If you're in a negative calorie diet, you're potentially going to lose some muscle anyway. So if you're in a negative calorie balance and you had enough protein and you lifted weights, you probably minimized.
You're on testosterone as well. So some of our patients are on testosterone and they're on the GLP-1 and the Wegovys, etc. You can minimize it. So it'll be an interesting space. I'm going to watch the space in the next couple of years. There'll be some new developments. And the reason why I think so, because if you've got 3 or 4 or 5 companies working towards this, this has been the holy grail since the early noughties when it was discovered.
A woman a few years ago when these type of drugs first came out, and she was asking my advice, and I'm like, I can't advise you because I don't really know about it, but I advised on what I could, and she definitely put on muscle mass and got stronger while she was losing body fat.
I think especially the British media, there's all the poppies grow at the same height, and they love to catch people out, right? And they say, see, these people are just trying to get an edge because they're using these Wegovy drugs, or you're using these Ozempics, and in reality, what they're forgetting is some new study shows it actually has anti-inflammatory and cardioprotective effects beyond just the weight loss. So those effects start before you start losing weight. I think that's something we should look at in a different way.
Well, metformin has also seen positives, right?
Metformin, there's dapagliflozin, the gliflozins as well. These guys are all doing keto. I said, I think I got built-in keto because dapagliflozin allows me to just piss out the sugar. So essentially, I don't think I'm absorbing many carbs, even if I eat.
Oh, I think you need some carbs if you're doing muscle building, but
it's interesting. Let me ask you, what would today's Dorian say to your younger version of yourself?
I mean, I think I would say enjoy it more. Well, I don't know if I would, you know.
If you would listen to your older self.
I don't know if that was I always felt that's a slippery slope, you know.
Yeah.
I do things to extreme and, maybe enjoy it a bit more. But, you know, I look back on it now and it's like, it was a magical thing, man, a magical time and an experience and everything. And I appreciate it. But whenever you're like in it, I think you don't, you know.
Yeah, when you're in it, you don't appreciate it until after.
But it was a bit surreal, like, I mean, there I am, right? And this is what I dreamt about. And I was just a kid in Birmingham with the Joe Reader magazine and all these people in there and all this whole lifestyle and this different world that I got absorbed into, and nobody around me knew what the fuck that was all about, right? You know, it's very un-Birmingham-like. And there I am, and I'm doing it, and it was weird. It was like, it's almost like I was in a movie and I knew this was going to happen.
You created your own future.
Yeah, well, that's what we do. We're all in our own movie, actually, you know. We're all creating or co-creating our existence. Yeah, and I had this dream and I was focused on it so intensely. Plus I had some degree of physical potential. I'm sure there's another kid out somewhere in the world that was also dreaming very intensely and going to the gym and training. Maybe he didn't quite have what it took.
Or the encouragement, or there were obstacles that they couldn't overcome.
Yeah, I had obstacles and lack of encouragement, but I turned that into a positive, which is always the choice.
Because you talk about blood and guts, right? And that's kind of your philosophy, whether it's in business or how you got through the bodybuilding.
Extreme focus. You know, somebody else just came up with the blood and guts because they saw what I was doing. It looked raw, you know. Yeah. It looked retro. It wasn't the normal weeder, sunglasses and girls on the beach type of stuff. It was something raw in a basement, and blood and guts. Yeah, that's what it looked like. So that's where it comes from. But it's just focus, you know. You get what you focus on. So that's why you got to try to be aware of what you're focusing on before things went away and you're in a mess. Because we don't normally aware of what we're thinking, actually.
Sometimes we're in autopilot mode.
Yeah, a lot of times you're, you know, how many times I've gone past the turning because I'm going towards the gym. Right. Because I normally go towards the gym in the morning, but today I'm doing something different, but I forgot because I've shifted into autopilot, and you go past the turning, oh shit, got to go back. Yeah. That way. So we're going to do it, you know, you're going to do it, but it's coming out of it and knowing that you're in it and getting some control on it. And that's what I'll be talking about to the guys today, all about the mind, man, because that's like, we can talk about everything, but without that kind of master controlling computer being online, it's not going to happen. No, it's like a glue that holds all the other things together.
That really resonates with me. I mean, you know, before I started balancing my hormones, I was in this place where I wasn't really doing what I wanted to do. Yeah. And it just felt surreal. Like you said, when you got built yourself up in bodybuilding, me taking this idea from nothing into a reality, now I'm doing it. And it's exactly what I've always wanted to do.
Without that thought of you thinking to yourself, I'd like to do that. I can do that. Without that thought, then you wouldn't be sitting here, would you? You'd be thinking something else. Or if you're thinking, oh, yeah, but I'm not good enough to do that. Well, that is also your reality. That would be your reality. If you think, then it's going to be like that, right? Well, better to look at people. If somebody is doing something and you think that's great, use them like, wow, if he can do it, it's just another man. You know, at some point I had to come to that conclusion in my own career, because I looked on all these guys in the magazines, these champions, as like role models and heroes, and hey, now I'm up against these guys, right? So I had to realize that these are guys that are very good at what they do, but they're human beings. They've got 2 arms, 2 legs, and whatever they have been able to do, then surely I can do it. I've already done a lot. You know, I've already jumped over things, so why not another one? Like, this was in particular in, like, with Lee Haney, the first one, because he was Mr. Olympia in 1984. I started training in 1983, so he's always been Mr. Olympia. All that time I've been training and coming up. And then I had to see him as like, oh, well, I'm going to try and beat him. And why not? Because he comes from America. So what? He's got a better gym. So what? It doesn't matter. All the little, it might be other people saying it, or it might be me. I'm hearing them, but I just back them away and like, no.
And just push through.
Why not? Why not? And then the next year, Lee Haney, I didn't beat him. I got second, but it was my first try. And the next year he's not competing, which threw me right off, because I was always the underdog. I was the kid from Birmingham, and I was not the, you know, the social guy. And even people within the British Federation, some people didn't really want me to succeed because I wasn't that guy. Well, it didn't matter. I did it anyway, you know. And always just underdog. And then 92, I'm logically the favorite. Lee Haney stepped down. I was second last year, so now everyone like is putting me as a favorite, which was like baffling. I was a bit confused about for a while.
I remember seeing in the magazines, 92. I was senior in high school.
Yeah.
And just started uni, yeah.
Yeah, it's great, man. Everywhere I go all around the world. I was in Argentina, and the guys there, you know, they grew up when I was Mr. Olympia, and somehow been an inspiration to them, not just in the gym, just generally. And that's great. All the people around the world, if you can touch people in a positive way, if it's one, it's great. If it's a lot of people around the world, it's even better. So I look at it like that now. You know, I just wanted to do this for me in the beginning. And it is quite a selfish pursuit, right? It's all about you and what you're eating and your sleep and your training and your, you know, your body. But I see now a bigger picture. That gave me a platform where I got people listen to me, and, you know, so on. So it's great if you can inspire somebody in a positive way, whatever that is.
Well, you're doing some great things, and I really appreciate you joining us here.
Great, man. Thanks for having me on. Maybe I'll see you in another 12 months, huh?
Yeah, that'd be good. Yeah.
Cool. Thanks, Nick.
It's been an honor to have Dorian Yates on our program today and delve into the extraordinary story and invaluable insights. To our viewers, take these lessons to heart and remember to subscribe, like, and comment on your favorite takeaways. And stay strong, stay balanced, and we'll catch you next time on Balance My Hormones.